VGK sweeps Canadian road trip as Nick Waugh scores the game winner in Edmonton, and we want to discuss why this team is so good away from home.
You're Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hi again, everyone. I'm Tony Cardasco along with Chris Golick. We welcome you on this Monday edition, I should say, of Locked On Golden Knights. And thanks for making us your first listen. You can find us wherever podcasts are available. And you could also find us on Twitter at Locked On VGK, at Tony Dasco, at TD Chris G. And please subscribe to that ever-growing YouTube channel. And that is Locked On Golden Knights. Chris, the Golden Knights, they have done very well. They've been successful on the road, 24-7-5 currently on the road this past season, where they have now won 7 straight games. And they beat Edmonton in overtime on Saturday, 4-3. And it's a reality that the Golden Knights are going to have home ice advantage, of course, because they're making their way into that realm.
At least in the first round, no doubt about
that.
At least in the first round.
Right, exactly. So, but they're also going to have to eventually win and come up big on the road in the playoffs. Why is this VGK team so successful away from the fortress?
I'm on Stat News right now. So you mentioned the home record, the road record, 22-14 at home, on the road 24-7. Otherwise, looking at the goals against, I mean, they've only given up eight less goals. The power play is only a couple points better. The PK is actually a tiny bit worse on the road. So it's not like there's this one glaring stat you're looking at. You're like, okay, this is what's happening. That's definitely not the case. So I think you just got to kind of go on to a couple of different things, right? I think you kind of start with the fact that on the road, there's less distractions. You're there with your teammates. You're there to play hockey. You spend time with your teammates. It's just a lot different than being at home when the families and such are there. And not that that's a bad thing being around your family or anything like that, but just simply when you're at home, you have a regular life to live on top of being a professional athlete. And I think people still forget that exists. That's one thing. And then I think it's just the perspective of not overthinking things. You know, when you're at home, you might want to push it a little bit harder. You might want to get the crowd going and, pump up the crowd and just do things you might not normally do. Whereas on the road, you take what you're given. You take the situation and you handle it. Obviously, on the road, you're going to be going against whatever the opposition's coach wants you to go against in terms of line change. At home, the home team gets the final change. So maybe Cassidy overthinks his line changes a little bit. If there's one thing to maybe point at, I don't know. I mean, but I think it's just simply one of those strange things where it's kind of all working out right now. And this does show the possibility of how deep this team might go in the playoffs because of how good they are on the road.
Right. At home, leave us tickets, take the kids to school, get the car washed. We have to throw that in there too. There's a lot of distractions. But Bruce Cassidy earlier this season, Chris,
they get their own cars washed.
It's the country club environment. He utilized these road trips, I think, and they started to focus, I believe, earlier this season where they had more meetings on the road, where the teams started to bond. And then I think they finally also got this practice schedule in order on the road. Remember?
Practice?
Yeah, exactly. But remember, they were having difficulties. We don't know when to practice, when not, with this and that. Remember all of that rigmarole? But now Cassidy, I think, has a set routine as well. And I think that that's been beneficial for this team on the road.
I still feel like every time I check, we get the email from Vegas Communications for the PR stuff and all that. I still feel like it's always, team has an off day today. They're off today. But I don't know. Listen, there's things to work out. There's growing pains. It's Cassidy's team. It's also Cassidy's schedule when it comes to practice and everything else. And it's going to take time. It's going to take time, right? The situation with DeBoer, right? That happened midseason. You just kind of rolled with it. And Cassidy had the entire summer, basically, not the entire summer, but long enough, right? I mean, they got the deal in place for Cassidy prior to the start of the rookie camps, which was obviously very, very important for him to get an eye on, the future of this organization, which again, a lot of people still dog the VGK. I forget this guy's name. Is a San Jose Sharks writer, was of all people, go figure, talking about a doom and gloom rebuild period for the Golden Knights. Last I checked, we got some people that have been pretty active on our roster right now contributing, and there's some decent horsies down in Henderson and stuff like that. So I leave it to a Sharks writer to talk that kind of stuff. But listen, things are looking good right now, and let's just see what happens. And that's the other thing. Look what the team is missing right now: Stone, Carrier, Alec Martinez, Logan Thompson, and Riley Smith, and how well they're playing.
Yeah. Carrier's doing the Homes Habitat, that whole project where they're building houses. So
he's been very public in the public eye since his injury. I'm not saying anything pro or con
he should be
towards
ready
his injury situation, but
right.
It's something needs to be pointed out.
Right. He should be back right now. And again, stowing him away, cooking the books, all that jazz. 53 points for VGK on the road. Now that's a success. I mean, if you were to ask me earlier this season if they were going to be that successful on the road, yes, they had that early success on the road. We know that. And the sweep on the road, and then they came back, and now it's 7 consecutive wins for VGK. Biggest road wins of the season. I was going back and looking at that. Boston has to be at the top of the list. The win in Buffalo was big at the time because of Jack Eichel's return and all that pressure, and probably Carolina I would have to put up there as well.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Edmonton is sexy. They got Connor McDavid. They got Leon Draisaitl. Ooh, they got Evander Kane, where, what the heck that clown was thinking when Nick Wow.
That was out to lunch.
Yeah, no, he was a passenger on the bus on that play, Tony. That's for you right there.
Right.
But you look at everything that they have, if they cannot put together like a deep run with this core of players, what are they doing in Edmonton with however they do their roster? What the heck is their GM doing? They keep rolling through coaches like no one's business right now. I mean, Edmonton might be in danger of trading away not one, but the top 2 players potentially of all time if they can't figure this out. Could you imagine if 2 or 3 years Connor McDavid gets shipped out of there because he's not happy? And that's a reality that Edmonton might have to acknowledge at some point happening. It is absolutely remarkable. My original point, Edmonton is fool's gold. They're fool's gold. They're fun. They have amazing players. I am not dogging any of the talent on that team, especially Connor McDavid, my favorite player in the world, beyond anybody. But if they cannot, they just can't put a winning roster together. I will say this until the cows come home. There you go. The Edmonton Oilers are nothing but the lipstick on a pig version of the Buffalo Sabres. That's all they are. They're a little bit better as far as results go. They might make a little bit of a run where they win a playoff series every now and then, but otherwise,
the 2 Connors.
Prove me wrong.
McDavid for Bedard.
Yeah, no,
at some point.
I have the ability when I'm doing my shows and on whatnot to also have a poll up there. And that one it wasn't quite 50-50. It was more 60-40 McDavid. But I think the poll I ran, it was a very small sample size, but I think it was a little more for Bedard than McDavid. And it depends on where Bedard goes. There's some teams that are a little close. Like if he goes to Montreal next year could be a cup contender. Whereas if he goes to Chicago or Columbus or Arizona, it's going to take a little bit of time.
I have a feeling he's going to wind up here in this division. I just do. Because why?
San Jose.
Because everything is so stinking rigged.
Why San Jose?
I don't know. Okay. 5 out of the final 9 games are on the road as well.
Good.
So you think that that's a good sign? Sooner or later, don't things even out?
I'm sure somewhere in the start of the season when we were doing some of our fluff pieces, just trying to get through the summer, basically you win 2 out of 3 at home and you go 40 points on the road, 60 points at home, 100-point season. That's not, a tough way to do the split. You got the sun coming in today. I like it, Tony. I like it. You're gonna
Sunfield.
You got the Cassidy thing going on there by the end of the show when he's down in Tampa.
Remember what it used to do to me, though? This would help the fog to roll in. Remember back in the day?
No, you must have got a device that's out of the 2000 teens or something like that instead of the 1990s. So good job there. But yeah, 40 points on the road, 60 points at home, 100-point season. Figure it out from there. Instead, the VGK, we're sitting on 98 with 9 to go. Is that correct?
Yeah, something like that. 9 games to go, 5 on the road.
Yeah, 98. I mean, there's a very reasonable path to 110-point season. And, another thing to look out, the overall standings right now where this team currently sits. We are now up to 4th place in the league with 98 points. We only trail Carolina by 5 points, who is second in the league. New Jersey with 100, Carolina with 103. I said last week there is a very reasonable shot VGK finishes second overall in the league. It can happen. And I think there's a clinching scenario tomorrow night that involves Nashville losing and VGK winning, where we officially clinch the playoffs. Whoop-de-doo. That means at the end of this week, they're going to bill me $5,000 for the first round of the playoffs, but whatever.
I was going to ask you about that. So that's
actually, it's reasonable. It's all in the contract, how much they charge in the elevator for playoffs and all that. It's actually one of the things they've been doing right since their inception.
Okay. It's going to be very warm once the playoffs begin. Is Foley going to unlock the building, or is he going to let everyone fry outside again and watch the game?
Oh, yeah. I remember that it was during the watch party, right? They were supposed to be outside. Then they said, open the doors, let them in.
That's right.
Yeah. Coming up. They haven't been doing the show. They haven't been doing,
no,
they used to show all the games outside. And then now COVID, they stopped showing the games outside. Okay. Let me say this differently. The home games were always shown outside. Like regular season playoffs didn't matter. And then COVID came, they stopped doing that. Well, COVID, I mean, listen, it's still a thing, sure, whatever, but 98% of the businesses are back to normal right now. Why aren't they showing the games outside anymore? I don't understand. Maybe come playoffs, they'll change that. It just makes it a better environment. It's more fun for people to hang out.
So stinking hot out there. Coming up next, we will recap VGK's win over Edmonton on Saturday. Later, we'll talk about the goaltending carousel, or whatever you want to do, and discuss about the goaltenders. That's coming up next right here on Locked On Golden Knights. Today's episode brought to you by a product that we literally use every day. That's AG1 by Athletic Greens. Maybe you're like us and you want to be healthy and you want to eat healthy, eat very well, and it's always easier said than done. That's no longer the case with AG1. With one delicious scoop of AG1 in a glass of water each and every day, you are absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins. You're absorbing minerals, whole food sourced superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. The special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy recovery, and your focus, as well as aging. All of those things. It can be very hard, very expensive to keep track of all of your multiple different supplements and vitamins that you have to take each day, not to mention how hard this is and how difficult it could really be on your stomach. And AG1 costs you less than $3 a day. Plus, you're investing in your health, and it's cheaper than your cold brew habit. Right now, time to reclaim your health. Arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. And to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NHL Network. Again, athleticgreens.com/NHL Network to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Welcome back to Locked On Golden Knights. I am Tony Cardasco. He is Chris Golick. You can find us on Twitter at Tony Dasco, at The Other Guy, and at TD Chris G. We need to start one at The Other Guy. And then, of course, please check out our YouTube channel, Locked On Golden Knights. It's a lot of fun, and we appreciate all of your input. It's very cool, and all of your comments. So please subscribe there. So Chris, Nick Waugh with the game-winning goal on Saturday night in overtime, 2:26 into the extra period. I want to talk about the effort on the game-winning goal. So first of all, we have Jack Eichel chasing down the puck, right, following a missed shot. And then Waugh, he's in front of the net, His shot is stopped by Stuart Skinner, and then he gets the rebound and he just bangs it home. And it was a great effort, I thought, first of all, on the game winner. And you talked about Evander Kane. I don't know where he was skating to Cam Loops, and it was just a great effort. It was a really good effort, though, by VGK when you look at the hustle there by those two players and their individual efforts.
I liked a lot of things that game. I mean, you start with Nick Waugh out there. Just Nick Waugh, what is he, 3 goals in his return or something like that? All of a sudden, he's scoring big goals right now, too. That was someone that was kind of forgotten about, day to day turns into, a 5-week injury or whatever the heck it was. There goes the sun.
I got it. You get it.
It's so funny.
Like
this gives you an idea of how the sun rotates around the earth right now. You're literally seeing it in Tony's recording space. So yeah, by the end of you're gonna be over about 6 more feet. So yeah, a lot of the things you mentioned, all the individual efforts were absolutely amazing. I want to talk about Braden McNabb out there. Braden McNabb was thumping everything in front of him, starting with Connor McDavid. Yeah, he gave him a cross check in the back. He knocked him down. He hurt him a little bit.
Now, did he really hit him? Did he really?
Not too bad.
A little bit
not too bad. And I think
McDavid hit him in the right spot. Did he just hit him in the right area? Where
he might have. I mean, listen, McDavid might have legitimately been hurt a little bit. And so what? So what? You're going to the blue paint, and you got our big boy there. He's going to knock you down. Deal with it. After that, Braden McNabb became public enemy number 1. They were thumping him every second they got, and they hit him pretty good a couple of times. So there was another hit where he, I forgot who it was, but he, injured one of their players a little bit in a clean hit, and he was playing very physical. So McNabb was very engaged that game and was, leading the defensive effort, if you will. And listen, Brossoit, wonderful game. The third goal, the game tying goal, he probably wants that one back, but his first game back in however long it was, given his situation, and go get the Edmonton Oilers. Go get the Edmonton Oilers. Good luck, kid. At first, I didn't like this, but then you look, Brossoit, obviously, he does have a good history against the Oilers. He was an Edmonton Oiler at once, so he knows the players a little bit and stuff like that. So he's able to get a very tough win. I think the team rolls with Jonathan Quick on Tuesday because we're going to get, and here you go, Tony, we're going to get Edmonton on the backside of a back-to-back. Yeah, they're playing Arizona, but Arizona's playing well right now. Last week, just on Sunday, Arizona took Colorado all the way to the shootouts. Arizona also took Edmonton all the way to overtime. So it's not going to be an easy spot for there's a reasonable shot that the Edmonton Oilers in their next 2 games come away with 1 point or less.
Okay. So I did tweet that out. All right. About the bogus scheduling. I did. I had to, right?
It's fair. It's very fair.
And an Edmonton reporter picked it up, and he said, I saw on Twitter that this team has to go through Arizona before they play VGK. I thought it was just a back-to-back. Why are they playing a team in the stinking Central Division on their way to Vegas? It is so, it's just awful. It's just awful, and it's so blatant. It's absolutely blatant.
Is the game, are they going to Arizona or are they home?
No, they go to Arizona for tonight's game, and then they come here.
The schedule is weird, and I don't know. I'm sure there's some explanation to how and why and all that, but I don't know.
The Canadian media guy said, "Is this your way of shooing away your pursuers?" The whole league knows. No, they know that it's rigged. Why in the world would the NHL late in the season? Okay, right now, I know we're going off the rails. You should be playing only teams within your division. That's where it should be right now. It's down the stretch. They do this in baseball. Like the final month, it's Boston and the Yankees. You have to have these games down the stretch to figure out your divisional positioning. These are crucial games, and they stick in there. So VGK plays Minnesota, right? Outside of here. So it's bizarre.
Yeah, but there's a wild card chase though too, as well going on. I think staying within the conference and primarily the division is fine. But there's also a wild card chase that happens. So it's good to have, potentially those games that could play out into that too. And they're important games if the scheduler maker gets lucky in that regard. Vegas and Seattle at the end of the month, one point that seemed like that could have been a fringe playoff, bubble type game. And then as much as 3 weeks ago, it almost seemed like the winner of that home and home series to end the season would have taken the division. But obviously now Seattle is, I think they've got a little more cushion. They're in the playoffs right now by 7 points over the Flames and 8 points over Nashville. And they have the same games played as Nashville now. So, yeah, Seattle's a little safer into the playoffs. So will they stay in that wild card 1 or slip to wild card 2? I don't know. As of right now, it seems like we're on a crash course with Winnipeg or Calgary. VGK, that is.
You much rather play Calgary?
Oh, give me the Flames. Give me the Flames all day.
All right. That's the new nickname for Bill Foley, the schedule maker, because he's the one that made the schedule. There's no doubt he was sitting there. There's absolutely no doubt. I thought it was a home and home, Edmonton and VGK, very pure, very pure.
It's a home and home for VGK.
Yeah. So now VGK, Chris, you have to admit that there's something up with this schedule. There's something amiss the way that it's falling for VGK, but they can't do shenanigans in the postseason. That's what we're going to see.
I think the interesting thing to do, if someone has a Twitter friends, followers, anyone watching this podcast, if you have, 10, 15 minutes, I don't, but if anyone has 10, 15 minutes, go through any random NHL team, look at their home, find when they have a home and home. So for example, just Winnipeg, see if they have a home and home against Minnesota at some points, and then see if Minnesota has a game between that home and home, and see how many times that's happened, in recent history. And it won't take you too long because there's not too many home and homes on each of the team's schedules. There's only like 2 or 3 or something like that. But that could be interesting. I'm curious if this is the first time in NHL history there's been a home and home for Team A where Team B has a game in between.
Yeah, they snuck that game in there. They wedged it in. Let's talk about Jack Eichel. He's really coming alive. 27th goal on Saturday night, and he had a 3-point game.
Yeah, listen, Jack Eichel is doing what Jack Eichel needed to do as far as, lead this team. And he opens the scoring on what is, it seems like it's just kind of a seeing eye shot, right? Mm-hmm. He's coming up the side, and instead of taking the immediate shots, he just gives not even really a big fake necessarily, just a little body motion to distract the goalie, skates an extra stride, and he's got a very small hole to snipe it in there. So, that's a very smart professional goal that Jack Eichel scored. And then his passing was dynamite all nights. A couple times VGK couldn't handle some of his passes. The only knock right now on Eichel, and it's not more of a knock as much as it is just the other power play unit just playing so much better than Eichel's unit. Eichel's unit, when the season starts, should be the second power play unit over the boards right now. The Dorofeev line, there we go, guys. The Pavel Dorofeev line needs to be the first one over the boards.
Do you know Dorofeev, the power play goal that he scored? It had been 0 for 13 on the power play opportunities over the last 6 meetings with Edmonton before he broke through. So that was a pretty big goal. And then your guy, Keegan Colasar, returned, and Ben Hutton was also in the lineup, of course, because
he was on line 1 on defensive pairing 1 with Petra.
Yeah. What did you think of his effort on the game?
You look at the score of the game and look at everything. Without Riley Smith, without Alec Martinez, and Logan Thompson, no disrespect, but the goalies are plug and play right now. That's less important than everything else, but it's still something to mention. The fact that Ben Hutton was able to step up, the fact that Colasar was able just to come in and do his thing out there, it shows how deep this team is. And I didn't even mention Will Carrier or Mark Stone in that last run-on sentence right now. So and guys, what's the over/under for Mark Stone in the playoffs? I'm sorry, I'll set it at round 2, game 1 for Mark Stone.
I'm not.
I've been pounding that drum since January.
I know you have been.
I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry.
You think he's Mark Stowe because they're stowing him away again, like last year? Mark Stowe.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know. I'm not sure about that, but yeah, we'll continue that debate.
You're the one who's not going to believe the conspiracy theory of all things.
I think the back is just going to be a much more
basketball messing with your head, Tony.
Yes, all this hoops is. I know you're ready for the Frozen Force coming in 2025.
I saw
26.
that. That's pretty dang cool.
Yeah, in that same arena, and 18,000 there on Saturday night. It was fun. I got the upgrade in the seat, so I didn't have to sit, in your seat upstairs. So that was really cool too.
I gotta see if I'm going on Tuesday. I'm waiting for my approval for tomorrow night. Hopefully, I'm going to make the game tomorrow night. I haven't
That
heard
would be
yet.
awesome. Yeah, we need
I
you
hope
back
so.
in the press room for sure. Coming up next, we'll talk about VGK's goaltending situation. What else is new? And we'll talk about that when we return right here on Locked On Golden Knights. If you are looking for a delicious treat, but you don't want all of the fat and calories, then you have to try what else? A Built Bar. We just got through the entire first quarter of this year, and it's a good time again to reset and to eat a little bit healthier this year. If you're like us, you want to eat healthier, but you don't want to compromise the taste. Man, oh man, you really do have to try Built Bar. And with Built, healthy is actually tasty. Seriously, it's very delicious. And you won't think that the Built bars are really good for you, but they are. And what makes Built so good? Well, for starters, they're covered in 100% real chocolate. They come in unbelievable flavors like churro, peanut butter brownie, and coconut almond. I'm not sure how Built does it, but these bars taste like a candy bar while maintaining amazing macros. What's even better is that they are very healthy, only 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, and a whopping 17 grams of protein. And now you don't have to wait around to get a box. For years, we've been talking about ordering your Built Bars at Built.com. Now you can get them at your local Walmart and even at Sam's Club. That's right. Head to your nearest Walmart today and just go to the pharmacy section. You can grab yourself a box of Built Bars. You can pick up the 4-bar box, cookies and cream, double chocolate, or coconut puffs. And if you're close to Sam's Town, run in and grab a 13-bar box with our hit flavors, brownie batter, and churro. And again, you could also go to built.com. Welcome back to Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick. We come to you each and every day from Las Vegas, and we thank you for making us your first listen. And thanks again for subscribing to the YouTube channel. That's really been a lot of fun. We appreciate all of your input. Please subscribe there. And Chris, Las Vegas to host the 2026 NCAA Frozen Four, 2026. Awesome. So just 3 years away. 28 will be the
T-Mobile or Allegiance?
T-Mobile. It's at
Allegiance
T-Mobile.
would be awesome, though, huh?
Well, that's where the Final Four is going to be in 28. So I'm really jazzed.
I know all
for
this.
that.
I mean, we saw the F1 paddock that they're building. Me and my kid, we were on the monorail. When was it? I don't know. We were on the monorail sometime not too long ago.
People still ride that monorail?
Only if we want to go by the Sphere and just go kill some time. We didn't ride it to go anywhere. We simply did it just to go have some fun.
Free parking at the Sahara. Take the monorail if you need to go to Elite.
We were going to do that.
That's our hack.
We went to SmackDown on Friday.
Oh,
we went to SmackDown at MGM.
How was that?
So much fun. I got to post a video on Twitter. So it was my son's first match, like first wrestling event he's ever seen.
How cool.
And it was my first one since 1991. I think it was at the Rosemont Horizon at the time with Hacksaw Jim Dugan. And I think the feature match was Hogan against Sergeant Slaughter. So it had been a while for me. I'm not going to lie. But the very first match, before the cameras even start, they have like a pre-match just to get the crowd warmed up and stuff, like an opening act, if you will. And my kid, he was just hooked. He was just hooked all into it. He was loving it. So it was a good time. It was a lot of fun. But we were originally going to do Sahara, go down to MGM, because we thought it was going to be a mayhem to get around the Strip because of all the happenings. And unfortunately, it was also mayhem around my neck of the woods getting to the stupid Strip. 95 north, done. 215, done. So we did streets all the way from Auto Show, pain in the butt. But once we got actually close to the Strip, oddly enough, it opened up pretty nice. Parked right at MGM and got in and out of there pretty easily. So it wasn't too bad. I got free parking with the Pearl card, which helps, but
I had that basketball event over the weekend at Vidara, and it was Friday night, or it was Friday night. Yeah. So Friday night, same night, I guess, as wrestling, right? I'm driving down the Strip, and I just had enough. Of all of the traffic. It was just really trash. So I just left the car. I parked it at the Tropicana and then walked. Like, I just was like, that's it. I'm done. I don't care. I'll walk from here, because I didn't want to navigate any more on the Strip. So
you're about to go all Michael Douglas falling down, huh?
Yes. Whatever.
Great movie. Great movie.
Okay. The past 4 games, NHL history has been made by VGK 4 wins, 4 different goalies. So you had Patera, Quick, Thompson, and Brossoit. Interesting.
It's awesome. I mean,
It's
you know,
crazy.
I hope Aiden Hill comes back and can start Tuesday. Let's keep the streak going. Let's keep this going. Let's get Papirny up then for the next game. Let's make it 6. I mean, let's just see how far we can get this thing, you know? And then I mean, it's listen, this stage of the season, right? Getting an accomplishment where you have 4 different starting goalies. It's not like they're just getting lucky in their efforts. They're having good games. Brossoit was absolutely amazing against the Oilers. He was amazing. 1 goal he wants back, but he hadn't played a game in however long it's been. You let up 1 bad goal against the Oilers. Good game, kid. Good job. Good job. Jonathan Quick starts have all been very serviceable. A little shaky in the thirds.
And over the total. And
a little shaky in the thirds. Yes, Tony, that's fair. Logan Thompson had a very good start. Unfortunately, got hurt. And Patera, you know, 2 very quality starts, 4 big points for the team down the stretch as they now play for seeding. So goaltending, again, this was the asterisk, Tony. This was the concern. It's not, even when Logan Thompson went down, it hasn't been a concern. And everything that's happened since then, it still has not been a concern. And right now, it seems like Quick is in the driver's seat to be the playoff goalie. We'll see what happens with Logan. I honestly think his season's done. He's per cap friendly. He's still day to day, but I think
very good. Yeah, it did not look very good. So
I thought we talked about this. So your little small conspiracy theory here.
Okay.
Thursday, when Quick entered the game at the end, around early on, right? He literally, you see him make a save and bends backward very awkwardly. I thought he was hurt. I thought he was hurt immediately. I think I was talking to you or someone about that. I wonder if that's why.
You said it on our show. You said it on our show. Yeah.
I almost wonder if that's why they didn't start Quick on Saturday night against Edmonton. I honestly, part of me thinks there was a slight little something going on there. If Brossoit starts on Tuesday night, we'll dig into that a little bit deeper, I think.
Okay, so the 4
I'll ask Cassidy about that in the post game.
Oh, I can't wait. Get in there. Fight them. 4 goalies, 4 straight games. Patera against CBJ. Then Jonathan Quick with the win against Vancouver. VGK wins against Calgary with Logan Thompson starting and then Quick in relief. And then Brossoit with the victory against Edmonton. Never done before in the National Hockey League. That's pretty impressive. And if you're Cassidy, it's just been
at this stage of the season too. It's this stage of the season.
It's a good role for Cassidy. Okay. I mean, some of this is, you know, they're really good. And some of this is really lucky the way that it's
no doubts.
But the defense has really stepped up to help out the goaltenders. I mean, anytime we talk about goalie success with this organization, we have to first of all point out the defense and the structure that he put in place because it's so good, right? It's a good, effective structure.
So that's the thing. That was one of the things that was talked about early in the season was the defensive structure of this team. The defensive structure was simply to limit or minimize the odd man rushes 5 versus 5, 5v5. And you see it when you watch, you don't see a lot of odd man rushes the other way. You just don't. If the wheels come off every now and then, so be it. It's going to happen, you know, whatever.
There were none in the Calgary game. Right?
No, I don't feel like there was a whole lot there. Well, Lucic, I guess
Lucic,
yeah. For whatever reason,
it looks like he's about 65, 70.
Yeah,
and he made
Braden McNabb look like a goaltender out there too, with the full pads on and elephant on his back. Unfortunately,
like a passenger. No.
Yeah, there you go, like Evander Kane.
Like an Evander Kane. Okay, so on tomorrow's show, we've got the preview of the Edmonton game. And we'll talk more about shooing away the pursuers for VGK because that's what they did. The schedule maker, Bill Foley, did a terrific job in wedging a game in between, which could have been really important, right? I mean, it could have been a very big game here in Las Vegas. And now, kind of diminishes it and just, okay, whatever.
Well, what do you think, Tony, before I look at it? What's the line tonight for Edmonton? And I got it. I haven't seen it yet.
So it's got to be minus 220.
I was going to say 200 on the head. Let's see.
Okay. So, yeah.
Wow. Okay. Line. You're off by 110. You're off by $1.10. I'm off by $1.30. Minus 330. Folks, you know what the bet is for that game? Coyotes on the spread plus 1.5 at plus 115. I am literally making that bet right now. The Coyotes have done a great job taking. Now, Coyotes are on a back-to-back also. They just played Colorado on
Colorado,
Sunday.
and they lost.
That's important. They lost in a shootout, but I don't care.
Right.
I don't care.
That would cover it for you tonight. So they have a back-to-back. They don't have to travel to Las Vegas. Oh, my goodness. Okay. We'll talk about that game tomorrow. I'm sure there'll be some more breaking news. We'll find out who's going to be between the pipes. We'll talk about all that tomorrow right here on Locked On Golden Knights. For my man, Chris Golick, I'm Tony Cardasco. We appreciate you all tuning in. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel, Locked On Golden Knights. We'll see you right here tomorrow. And please be here with us.